What's up, everybody? It is Lunar New Year. Well, at least in Adopt Me, it's a few days early, but I wanted to share a new build I did for this, and that is a Dragon Gate, the kind of traditional one you would see in the entrance to a neighborhood or something. It's got a lot of cool little details, like the little dragon statues up there and the roof, the little spiky roof there. Kind of inspired, my some of the ones you could see. It's got some lanterns, and really you could take this and you could make any variety variants off of this, depending on how complex you wanted to get. But anyway, if you enjoy the build video, let's get this show on the road. All right, we're gonna build this thing starting out with the pillars first. And first thing we're gonna do is lay a block, not a box. Let's see, the small block here. We're gonna paint this the standard gold, I think will do. And then I'm gonna clone this. I'll show you why in a second. And move it up a little bit, and then switch to medium and resize that. And I think it gives this gold base kind of like a, more of a pillar look, pillar base look. Raise it up a bit, and just a little extra touch. Like I say, uh, if you don't care about those details, or you got a build that's going to have a lot of pieces, then you may not want to waste it on little things like that. But yeah, sometimes you can. Now we'll get the regular rectangular beam, the wooden one. If we switch it to the default dragger here, we should be able to just slap this guy right up here, and probably scale him up so that it's a little more in line with the size of the support. And we may have to switch to the advanced mover to kind of get that centered, and it doesn't have to be perfect. One of those things only you will notice if it isn't. But there we go. All right, so we got that. Now we want to make the header block up here, and we're going to use this, even though it is not wood shaped, but they don't make wood shaped blocks, unfortunately. So we'll put this up, not too high, and then there. And now we're going to color the wood. I don't like the default brown, so to go with the kind of theme. I usually see these as red, and this red I think is just too bright, so I really want to go for a more mahogany or whatever darker red down to here. Yeah, that looks good. Let's store this for later. Got that red good. Now we'll color this, and it'll look a little different because it's not the wood grain, but you won't even notice it. So now we got that. Now we're going to do the little kind of round effect, the little circular effect that we had, and we're going to do this with rings. We'll get, wait, just ring. All right, so I think the small ring will do. And if you put this right up here and scale it down so that it fits, you can kind of tell by the blue ring around or whatever, where not only when it's in the place, but when it's about center as well. And you might not be able to get that without the advanced move. So once we get that, the size good, then you center it down, and that looks pretty good. And we'll color this to be the same kind of gold as the base. And wait, that's not the same one. This one. There we go. Now let's clone that again and resize it down a little bit to put it, yeah. And then we have that kind of ring effect. And the big ring sticks out a lot. You can see it sticks out a lot further than when you scale it down. And so we can actually use the advanced mover on a medium or small to kind of just push that in a little bit so it's not jutting out as much. And you could take both of these and clone these and move them to the other side to make the same effect on the other side. If your arch is going to be seen from both sides, I'm not going to spend the time to do it now, but it wouldn't be too hard. But so now we have one side of the arch, and we're just going to clone this guy, and we're going to move him over. Let's set this to large so we kind of get a good 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Does this look good? I mean, you don't want to make it too wide, but you want to make it wide enough that you can put like those lanterns that we had, and I think that's a pretty good width for an arch, but you can play with it. Then the only thing left to do is connect them, and we'll just reuse one of these beams. We'll clone this. We'll do a rotate. We're already on large, so we'll get a nice, easy 90-degree rotation. And we'll use advanced move. Might have to switch back to medium for the advanced move in order to get it up where we want it, kind of centered in there, and then move it over here. You probably have to clone this again to fill the space, but there we go. Clone again. We didn't go too far, did we? Nope. So you never got that cross beam. So there you have it. I mean, that's the beginning of it done super quick and super cheap. All right, now that we've got our arch in place, let's make our roof. And this is actually easier to make on the ground. Roofs in general and Adopt Me are a pain. I hate them whenever I have to make. But what we're going to start off with here is you want to find the small 45-degree wedge. Wait, that was the medium. That's too big. Where's the small 45? All right, there we go. It'll be facing the wrong direction, so make sure you're on a large grid and just flip that around. And we want to make it about as wide as the arch is, so you can just kind of line it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. Line it up and then clone this a bunch of times. If you're on a large thing, you should just be able to drag them and have them snap pretty much into place. So let's clone this, clone, and maybe one more should get us about the width there. Like I said, it doesn't need to be exact. That's pretty good. And we got one that's kind of off there. So that now we're going to want to extend this out a little bit to the sides, and we're going to use something, a different piece for that. And we're going to use the tall roof panel is the piece we're looking for. Tall outer roof panel. You'll see it here, and it looks really weird like this. It's going to come in at the wrong angle. If you give it a few turns, you're going to see it kind of line up how you want it. And you need to make it a little bit smaller. Scale this down a bit, and it doesn't need to be perfectly aligned because we're going to trim a lot of this out. But maybe if you switch to a medium and then bring that in, let's see, that looks, let's get it back here and see if it lines up. Maybe use the advanced mover. I want to have it close, but it doesn't need to be perfect, like I said. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty close. Like I said, we'll fix it up later. And then we want to clone this, move it over to the other side. We want to flip this around 180. Best to do on a large grid. And once we flip that around, that should pretty much line up on the other side as well. We need to advance move it with the medium grid over a couple of spots. Alright, so there we have our kind of roof, one side of the roof, and we're actually going to wind up at the end cloning that. But for now, let's get this off the ground a little so we can better trim it, and we'll bring it up to about like eye level. So just a couple of things up like this. And now we're going to trim it out. And we're going to start with some cylindrical beams, and we're going to kind of make like round trim along the side. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So we're going to bring this down to a, something like this size, and then rotate it to this side. And now we're going to use this pipe, it almost looks like a storm drain, to kind of trim out the roof edge. So once you get it aligned there, and you can move it even to one side here, have it overhang this side a little bit, and then start cloning. And these are $5 a piece, so it's going to cost us like, I don't know, $100 in trim, but it makes it easier than trying to line everything back up. So good thing to do while it's night. And you can try to select multiple pieces and clone those at once, but I find sometimes that it's just time consuming trying to get that as it is to just do it a whole bunch of times. But there we'll get to the end here with a little overlap. Um, and then we're going to actually clone that one more time, and we're going to rotate this 90 degrees and advance move it into the side to trim out the side here. And actually, it looks best looking at it from the front if you hide it a little bit behind the front trim. That's why we made it overhang a little bit. Um, you may be able to make it the entire way back with just one piece. Yeah, like I said, that looks pretty good. And then we can take this piece and clone it for the other side as well. All the way over to the end, right in the line. So there. So as you see, now you can barely tell the spot where it didn't work together. And now we're going to add some kind of use the same pieces to make a kind of corrugation effect. I'll show you what I mean by this. So we're going to clone this guy. We're going to rotate him. Medium is good for this because we're going to need a little bit more control, but we want to first go up like this and then over to about a 45-degree angle this way, the same as basically the wedge. So you can see what we're doing is making some now vertical clone it twice, make it go all the way up to the ridge. So now we're going to have this kind of thing. We're going to duplicate this across and make it kind of give that corrugated look. But I want to add one more thing, which I think adds a bit of flair to it. Take the small cone, bring that down here. We'll just for a measurable size, put it up on here. It should, if you put it on front here, it should point out like we want it. So we're gonna kind of give it the kind of spiky look like a lot of the those roof types things have, where they spike out a lot. And so we want to get this relatively, yeah, perfect like that. So it looks like it kind of comes right out, and daytime might be better for this. And just on cue. So there, yeah. Now we have that kind of effect, and now we can take this, switch to default dragger. It makes it easier to select multiple things. Hold your control button, select all three pieces. Remember, we had two pipes and then the spike, and now move the. First, let's move this one. Oh, I selected the wrong thing. Undo button. Okay, so let's go back in to default dragger. Select this cone first, then this pipe piece, then this pipe piece. Okay, now we got it. Let's move this over, and we'll see how we can use this now to hide this trim pretty much right here. So that, and now clone this as well, and move it over to here, and use it to hide the seam there as well. And now you can really clone this as many times as you want to kind of give the effect. I switched to large because it makes it easier to make even spacing. So if you want to do this, I don't know, it's like $15 per clone. So it's not, or $20 per clone, and you can just do it all along the side here. So you can see now it's got that kind of the corrugated roof style, and all those spikes coming out look really well. When you get here, you may find that your spacing was not quite planned out totally, but you can maybe just do it a little bit there. Look, you can barely tell if there's a little more of a gap there, but it gives that cool kind of spiky look there on the side. I think, yeah, it looks great. You can even, let's see, we can go on the corners here. It's a little trickier, and you don't have to do this if you're finding it's just trouble. Let's see. Reselect all three pieces. Make sure you have all that. Now clone this, and now we're gonna want to advance move it over a little bit, and then you're gonna rotate it along here, and you're gonna have to go kind of between advanced moving and rotating, and you may even have to. I don't think this roof panel is 45 degrees, so what you'll have to do is, let's see, rotate along this angle as well, then advance move it up. Like I say, you don't have to do this if it turns out to be just too much of a pain. You might have to switch to a smaller thing to get the exact angle of this roof panel. There, I think we almost got it there. And then if we, well, it's actually longer, so if we leave this here, move it in slightly, by the time we trim, I bet that'll go away. But what we can do is extend this guy up a little bit. There. Now we got it kind of in the corner as well. That looks pretty nice. I can maybe move this so it doesn't stick out as much. Alright, now if we select all three of these pieces again and clone that, we should be able to put that into the other corner as well. But it's going to take some weird advanced moving because the axis is all off. It's totally on the floor right now. Come back. Alright, here we are. And I'm going to advance rotate this guy. Oh my god, I don't even know what this is going to require. Pay attention in geometry, fellas. Okay, so now we are back to almost. And like I said, if this is more trouble than it's worth for you, then leave the corners be. Alright, that was a labor of love. But now we got that kind of framed out. So if we look at this, and I do this I left it in this plain gray color for now because I feel light colors are easier to see the shadows on. So now let's take this and let's get this colored now. We're going to select it all, and we're going to choose our color, and again we're going to look for a green that we like. I think this is I prefer the little like darker shade, so I'm going to go a little darker shade of green. Whoops, I don't think I actually. Oh, there we go. And actually, you want to store that maybe for later because it's there. I like that color green now. I think that offsets well to the red. So now we have this whole thing, and we can select it. And make sure when you select that you may have everything. Sometimes it means going wider, but I think we'd have everything there. And let's clone this entire thing. And then now that we have a clone, let's go into advanced rotate. Make sure we're on large so we get a clean 90-degree, and basically turn the entire thing around. And now we're going to advance move it probably back to a medium, at least for the beginning, and we're going to want to match this up pretty. I mean, you want to be pretty close for this one. So come to the other side. That's where our move controls are, and all right. So there we go. Like I say, you may need to even switch to small to make this line up perfectly. And it's dark again, which makes it hard to see. Let's wait a second. All right, the sun's back out, and you can see that we got things pretty well lined up here. And I think we're going to have across the board. That is a nice looking roof. Now it is time to raise the roof. And the reason we moved this out a little bit, did we earlier, but we should have, is we got to select this whole thing. It's awful close to the arch now. Let's see if we can do it. If you get the edge of some of the other stuff, a lot of times it won't matter. So I don't think we're going to get the arch in here. All right, I think we got it all. Let's find out. Any pieces left behind? Nope. It's a clean snatch. And once we get it up to about where we need it, then we'll dump it onto here. Get it pretty much centered. This way, take a look at it from this side. That looks pretty good. Because once we click, we can undo it. Once we click, even it would move it back to the ground. But let's just see if we got it. All right, look at that. How nice does that look? And you can either leave the top alone, or because people won't really see it from the top, up here at the seam, or you can take pipes and you can trim along the top too as well. That's fine if you want to. So now the only thing left to do is to add any other real decorations we want to do, and there's a few that you can do. There's you can add lanterns. Let's see, like these lanterns. For some reason, they come in upside down. Oh, and that's in small. That's why you never rotate in small. Let's go back. And move this guy here. Make him a little bigger. When you do that, move it up, and so you can add one here, and then you can clone that here and move it over. I think in the beginning I had it actually multi-level ones, but you don't have to do that either. And then since it is the year of the dragon, we can actually do something else that's kind of cool, and you'll see sometimes things like this. You take this dragon statue here. Let's get him over here. Let's have him face out this way. We get it totally nope. So basically, yeah, facing the side of the outward from the thing. We're gonna color this guy. He's got so many different pieces, all the same color as the roof. So all of it green, the exact same color as the roof. Once you have that, then we'll take it and advance, move it up. And basically, night again. And you can't see it. Hold on. All right, now here we go again. So we got this dragon up, and we can just kind of work him into the corner so that just the top or just the wings and the head show, but not like the rest. You can decide. Big thing is the base doesn't really show there, which is nice. And that kind of gives like some ornamental trim, makes it almost like a gargoyle. So once you have that how you want, then clone that one, move over here. Whoa, what happened? Move over here, switch back to your large, or you could do a medium, rotate it around, and slow, and then get that back into the same kind of visibility you want. So there, now you have your dragon arch, your dragon gate. with your lanterns. These lanterns don't turn on and off. They don't really do a lot of glow. So one of the ideas you could do is to put a some kind of light inside of them. There's a few that you could just shrink down and put in. But you can have fun with this. You can use this to build an even bigger and grander arch if you want. The possibilities are endless, but it'll give you that same great look. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you have fun building this. Hope you have a great Lunar New Year, and I will talk to you guys soon.